Well, good afternoon, Tim. Thanks very much to ShareCafe for the opportunity, and thank you for your kind attendance today. Really just wanted to give you some insights into who Orthocell is and what the innovative products that we have developed and are now taking to market, and also to give you an understanding of the opportunity that lies ahead for investors in this undervalued stock. So just want to give you an upside on that, on the Orthocell story. So next slide, please. And next slide, please. So just want to give you some background and some of the key investment highlights. We work in the regenerative medicine space, and we're delivering breakthrough products for the treatment of what is called serious musculoskeletal disorders. Musculoskeletal meaning bone, nerve, tendon, muscle. This is the framework that holds our body together. And as we age, that framework also ages. And as a result, there's some great opportunities and unmet clinical needs, particularly in the areas of nerve, bone and tendon repair, which is our company's focus. The portfolio that we have within the company, and I'll show you that as we go through the presentation, has significant clinical evidence, and some of those products now approved in major markets around the globe, and I'll talk to more detail about that. But really returning patients to work, to sport and to recreation in a pain-free way to improve their activities of daily living. Very importantly, Orthocell is a manufacturer of its products. We manufacture these products here in Australia from Australian raw material. We are TGA licensed. We have ISO accreditation, which goes along with our EU and our FDA approvals. So that enables us to manufacture from this country to distribute globally, which I think is a great piece of net national benefit for this company and the country. And I think you'll see that as we go through this presentation. We have a comprehensive global patent portfolio with over 85 patents delivered internationally from 6 different patent families that involves our products. And so very pleased with the development of that, with the intellectual property originally coming from the University of Western Australia here in Western Australia. And lastly, we have a highly experienced board. We have board members in the US, in Lund, in Sweden, in China, Australia, and as I mentioned, the US. So a really experienced board that really represent the skill sets that are required now to take us to that next level with regards to reimbursement expertise and commercial expertise. And so a fantastic board. We have about 190 million shares on offer. As I mentioned, a 75 or 70, depending on what day you're looking, between 75 and $80 million market cap. We have, as I've mentioned, a very experienced board and $32 million in cash as of the 5th of July 22, which has been recently bolstered by an exclusive license and distribution agreement that we've completed. And I'll talk in more detail about that as it's a fairly rare event in the Australian medical device space. Next slide, please. So what are the products that we've developed? Essentially 2 broad portfolios. And the first is a platform. It's called the CellGrow platform. It's a medical device of biological nature. It's designed to augment the surgical repair of bone, nerve and tendon tissue. Our first application in market is for dental products for guided bone regeneration. And we have now our nerve product is approved in Australia, just recently approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and now driving that product into the US as well. We've demonstrated some very superior, clear performance data here. And so we know that this is a clinically proven set of products and really approaching, and as I'll demonstrate through the presentation, some really important milestones that we've just recently achieved and are now approaching also. And then secondly, in our portfolio, we've developed a cellular therapeutic, and this goes along with our medical device in that some tissue requires medical devices of biological nature to heal. Some tissues require a cellular interaction to make them heal, and some tissues require a combination of those two. And hence we've developed a dual portfolio, firstly focused on a collagen medical device, and then secondly on our cellular therapy for the regeneration of human tendon tissue. These are huge markets, over 700,000 patients per year in the US suffer from tendinopathy issues within their shoulder. And this technology is the first injectable clinical stage cellular therapy for the treatment of tendon injuries globally in this space. And it's addressing a significantly unmet clinical need. And we've gone through randomised studies, which we've recently reported, and we're now well and truly on our way into the US FDA and to the Australian market. So very excited about the potential of that product in this unmet clinical need. And essentially what we're about is restoring mobility and function as we get these degenerate chronic injuries as we move through the age brackets. Next slide, please. So where are we at from the US strategic focus? I'm delighted to let you know that Striate Plus, which is for our dental regeneration, I'll show you some more detail around that in a moment, dental bone regeneration. We now have FDA approval, we have EU approval and Australian approval, and we've recently engaged with an exclusive distribution and license partner called BioHorizons, one of the largest companies in the world in the dental space, and I'll talk more to that in the next couple of slides. Wrinklier is for our a nerve repair. We've recently had that product approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration here in Australia and are now driving that through both the US FDA and European market entry points. We also have a very exciting pipeline product called, which is called Smart Rope. And that's where we're converting our collagen medical device into a collagen rope at 4 millimeters in thickness, can lift me off the ground. Well, it certainly could 6 months ago anyway. It might not today, but it certainly lift us off the ground. And so what that says is that it's got incredible tensile strength. It is of a highly conductive biological nature and is going to be used for the replacement of ligaments such as the anterior cruciate ligament in the knee. And so that's a really exciting pipeline product. And as mentioned with our ATI, our cellular therapy for the regeneration of human tendon tissue, we've recently completed a randomised clinical study which has formed a foundation for us to drive that product into the US market. And the second indication in that product is for the elbow, or what's known as tennis elbow. And it sounds like a flippant injury, but it actually has devastating effects once it moves into that chronic space. Next slide, please. So now I just wanted to give you some insights into Wrinklier. What's the problem with ruptured, severed or damaged nerves today is that the most common way of joining those nerves back together is with a needle and thread. That needle and thread does damage to the nerve. It impedes its ability to have a predictable outcome. And so the product we've developed not only enables the surgeon to join those two nerves together without using sutures or minimising the use to one or two sutures, it also provides a bioactive chamber for that nerve to heal in a more rapid way. It also mimics the epinurum, the outside edge of the nerve. And so we've created a product that supports the healing mechanism, that protects it from the outside. It's a barrier, but also provides a bioactive chamber for these nerves to grow in a more predictable and a consistent way. And that's really the holy grail for surgical interventions, for it to be able to return function to paralysed limbs in a predictable way with a product that has proven biocompatibility, that has exceptional handling qualities and provides this really unique healing environment. So keep an eye out for this product. It's been approved now in Australia. We're starting to make some real inroads into the market here and extremely excited about our pathway into the US market, the world's largest healthcare market, where there's over 700,000 peripheral nerves that are treated every year using a needle and thread. So fantastic opportunity for this product. Next slide, please. And why are we so excited about this patient? This patient group and this product is because the clinical data that we've produced here in Australia for these peripheral nerves and quadriplegic patients has been quite stunning. And what we've seen here with patients who have got paralysed limbs, we've been able to conduct, using our product, this advanced surgical technique called nerve transfer, where we're taking nerves or wires from other areas of the body that aren't affected and we're splicing them back into paralysed limbs. And what we're seeing is quite a foundational, fundamental change in their abilities. And we're seeing at 24 months a predictable and a consistent return of voluntary muscle movement and function to 85% at 2 years. And we're talking about quadriplegic patients that previously were unable to walk, to wheelchair, to use their wheelchair, unable to shift themselves from their bed to their chair, unable to toilet themselves, and unable to even use their devices or hug or have interactions with their children. So what this technology and this surgery has done with incredibly brave patients has driven them forward into a much better place. Next slide, please. And again, huge markets, which I've already mentioned here. So next slide, please. I want to briefly talk about Strayac Plus, our product for dental repair. It's a product that's used to augment bone repair. Every single bone dental implant that's put into place requires a bone graft, and it requires a membrane of this nature. And so we've developed an incredible product that's now taking some significant steps forward in the US. And as a result of that, next slide, please. We have recently announced to the market a deal that we've just signed with BioHorizons, one of the largest dental companies in the world, for a global exclusive license and manufacturing agreement with our company. We now have a wonderful partner with global reach, and that value to us is a $23.1 million exclusive upfront license and distribution fee, non-diluting capital into the company at a time which I know all involved in the stock markets know any undiluted capital at this stage is gold. And so we're delighted to announce this a relationship and agreement with the company, but it enables us to continue to manufacture for our partner and continue to have that net national benefit, as I mentioned. Next slide, please. In conclusion, just a couple of slides to go. I really want to draw your attention to these comparators. If you look at Avita and PolyNovo at a very similar stage to our company, at a very similar clinical stage, they were very similar market caps. And so we see that both Avita and particularly PolyNovo are wonderful comparators for this company, so you can really begin to see the opportunities that lie with this stock OCC. Next slide, please. And so upcoming catalysts, we have engaged with that marketing and distribution partner in the US, which is a fundamental piece, not just in the company's future, but in that product future. Wrinklier now approved in Australia and starting to take market share and driving through our FDA pre-submission process. And OrthoATI now recently completed randomized clinical studies at a level 2 study, or level 1 study, apologies, at the highest level. So some very exciting times ahead for the company, some great value and opportunities, and a great time to invest in Orthocell. So thank you very much for the opportunity today, and thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Paul. Really fascinating products there. Now, it does look like you're cheap relative to your peers. You've got a big cash backing, 32 million, I think, against market cap of kind of 70 million, 72 million. What's the market missing, do you think?
Yeah, so this has been somewhat of a complex story. Regenerative medicine is a reasonably hard story to articulate. We've got multiple products, both cellular and from a scaffold perspective. But it's our belief now that with this global partnering deal, this is not a company that's going to do things. This is not a company that's telling the market that we have something with potential. This validates our platform. That deal validates the platform across the board for nerve, bone, and our tendon applications. It's a validation that we are a manufacturer of quality. It is a validation that we have products of quality that can attract global partners for large upfront deals. And so, we'll be articulating that to the market as soon as the school holidays are finished and we're out there treating the boards, telling the story about this wonderful deal that we've just done. So I think the market is about to have this story and run with it with some degree of gusto.
And does that BioHorizon deal, is there ongoing royalties, or was it just a one-off payment? There's a question.
No, so we're continuing to manufacture for them. Those specifics are commercial in confidence, but I can tell you that we're continuing to manufacture for them. That will continue to grow the revenues in the company, and is a really important part of our business moving forward. And importantly, not only does this deal benefit us from our bone perspective? It also reduces our cost of goods for our nerve and tendon products. This is a portfolio play and enables us now to validate, scale up, and become a mature manufacturer for future deals that we do in this space.
And Paul, we're almost out of time, but can you give us a little bit more colour on the revenue model? Do you sell the product? How does it work in terms of distribution and sales?
Yeah, so we are essentially not a dental company, but we've produced some really neat dental products. And so we want to partner into that market and into those markets, and we've done that with BioHorizons. From a nerve perspective, we see fantastic growth potential here for that product, and we want to maintain control over that product for some time to come until we move into the FDA. But fundamentally, we're about finding the right partners that can access the markets on our behalf and of the right quality. So it's not our intention to develop a sales force across the US. We will partner into those markets.
Great, Paul. It's all we have time for. Fascinating story. Love to help tell that story moving forward. Congratulations and have a nice weekend.
It's my pleasure, and thanks very much for your time.